Today we're going to be talking about back to school and what you need to know for your children. You know, kids today are, whether they're playing football, basketball, they're required to have a sports physical. And in this heat in the South, you need to know how to keep them safe, hydrated, and well. The next most important question is that a lot of parents are asking about vaccinations and what their kids need to have or not have in order to be protected for the school year. So listen to our next episode.
Welcome, everybody, to the Everyday Health Hacker Podcast. I'm Mike Herzing, along with the awesome Dr. Lisa Liao.
Hi there, Mike. Good to be back.
It's good to be anywhere, especially in the air conditioning.
Yes, it's summertime, and we've got summertime, and now parents are talking about, hey, it's almost back to school.
Absolutely.
What do we need to do?
You're right. Dr. Liao is Chief Medical Officer right here at the Meridian Health Institute, Sugar Land, Texas, where it's nice and warm.
It is. It's warm here. We're having rolling brownouts. But that's okay.
There we go. This week, in response to all of our listeners' emails, we're going to talk about back to school. You know, teachers go back to school. Some of us will go back next week. But the kids got a few weeks to go. They got about a month to go.
Unless you're in sports.
There we go.
All the sports
You're
kids,
right.
They are already out there. And, you know, they're not canceling those, those camps. They're out there in the heat. And praise God that those coaches are really in it, not only to win it, but to really care for those kids, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And we appreciate that. We appreciate the teachers and the coaches that are out there.
Sure, but I know, but drinking water is not enough. Gatorade's not enough. Sometimes when you let it get past a little bit, like the other day, I was doing some stuff up at the farm, and I got a little bit overheated, and I noticed I really sweat wasn't running down like it did. I had to get the Pedialyte out, which I really don't like.
It doesn't taste too great, but
Like
it does work.
Drinking salt water,
Yes.
but you know,
Yes.
it brought everything back.
Absolutely. So one of the things on, you know, when you notice that you're not sweating, you are past the point with heat exhaustion. Now we're going into heat stroke. So that's very dangerous. So you did the right thing. I need to hydrate. I need to go inside somewhere that's cool and hydrate. And that's what I'm asking all of those, you know, almost professional athletes. I mean, they go at it so hard as they prepare for high school and middle school. And not only having that high school, middle school physical to help make sure that they're prepared, but parents also asking the healthcare provider, what are the things that you need to be on the lookout to help prevent? And as a parent, what can we do to help our coaches keep our kids safe in this heat?
Yeah, no kidding. And the coaches, they've got 40 or 50 kids out there, and maybe 60, and there's 4 coaches.
Correct.
They can't always see that they're red-faced and flushed.
Correct.
And clammy. And so you've got to have the kids need to be aware at some point. But it's really tough when you're seeing stars a little bit and you're trying to compete with because everybody's so competitive.
And I always say it's not a buddy system because sometimes you're so competitive.
Absolutely.
It's like, I can outdo this buddy. And, you know, it's cool to get sick and throw up because I worked out so hard. Guys, girls,
at that
I don't
point,
want you doing that. I want you taking care of yourselves. So I almost call it in the sense of, you know, we have to have a team effort. You know, we have to have a team. So maybe it's 5 to 4 people that are covering for each other and making sure that each person is not red-faced, that they have taken the time to hydrate. And if they need to get on a cooling bench or go inside to cool down and then come back out, that there is a system to do that. So make sure you have your physicals, make sure you have all your permission slips signed, and parents, be out there and ask the coaches, what is it that we need? You know, a lot of booster clubs have, you know, in the north, there's a lot of booster clubs that buy the warming benches for the kids, or they have these covered little areas to help warm the kids up. And in the heat, we also need some extra fans and maybe some misters as well to help keep the kids nice and cool.
With humidity here, the misters don't work as well as we'd like, but they're better than nothing.
It's better than not having anything.
Now,
That's correct.
Speaking of boosters,
Yes.
as you said, shots.
Yes, great question.
What about,
What do we need to
COVID
do?
stuff is coming back. They're talking masks, which everybody's not going to like. Of course, if you do in athletics, you really can't wear a mask anyway.
Correct, because you need to be breathing
What
well.
should we be doing or not doing?
Yeah, so I've had that question a lot. What do we need to do regarding the boosters? And let's face it, I think if you guys have watched the news at all this past 2 to 3 weeks, this BA5 variant is very different. So what we have to do is, from a scientific perspective, is that they're constantly changing the boosters, just like they change the flu vaccine every year. So it's a constant change. So that's going to be something that I really encourage you share, that before you get a booster, talk to your family, with your healthcare provider, and find out what's best for you. Obviously, if you have some people that are within your family that are going through chemotherapy, you might be homeschooling this year.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It is something that we don't want you to come back and say, oh, Mom, so-and-so tested for COVID and I was sitting across lunch and I'm not feeling good, because then that affects not just that child, their teammates, and their schoolmates, but also every family. And then that family, when you're going to work, it's affecting the office and the area that you're working. So that is not a 2 or 3-fold effect. That is a 20 to 30-fold effect. So please be mindful. Carry home tests if you're not feeling good. If you have a headache, we've been talking about headaches a lot. This last BA5 is coming down with the main symptom is a headache. So go ahead and test. When that's negative, hey, we can at least go a different route. But if it's positive, we have a route to go.
Okay. Headache, wasn't it sore throat?
Headache, sore throats.
Fatigue?
Yeah,
I had that a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And you looked at me and went, you need to go home.
You need to go home and you need a test.
I know. But I took the test and it was negative.
And it was
but,
negative,
But if I took
thankfully.
it again a couple days later, I'm sure it would probably have been positive. But I went ahead and stayed home, and you sent out medicine, and I
Right.
felt fine 2 days later.
Somebody else in the family was positive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It all works
and
out.
It was just the way it is. But
It
yeah,
is.
it happened to me, and I took the boosters and things like that last year, and I took the strong booster and ended up with all kinds of side effects. And so I'm the poster child for don't take the booster, but that's just me. Anybody else? I'm sure they've changed the booster since I took it.
They've changed it. It used to be a full dose. Now it's a half dose, quarter doses for children. So the key is to find out what's going to be best for you and your family. Those of you who know me know my stance on it. So we don't have to talk about it here.
No,
So
we're
that's
not.
all good.
We're not going to say that.
So we're all good. And the key is that even if you are vaccinated, you can still get the BA5 variant.
Sure.
So even if you are vaccinated and you're having symptoms, you're like, no, it can't be. It can be. And we have that conversation every single day with patients who are calling. So we're here to help guide. And if you are a healthcare professional out there that has the like-mindedness that we are in being available for your patients, I'd love to have your name, email, contact information so that we can refer patients to you, because we're in Texas and in Florida, and we want to be able to serve the community. But we also know that there's a lot of people that are in other parts of the country that we also want to serve and get them connected to the right people.
There are people that haven't made it here yet. You're
Correct.
Right. They all
I know
wanna
everybody
come
wants
here.
to be a Texan.
That's right. Texas or Florida. Absolutely. All right. Anything else?
So those are the main keys. So there's also going to be a question about the meningitis vaccine. So some of the colleges...
Does it ever stop? No.
It honestly, it doesn't ever stop. That the key is that, washing your hands, keeping a clean environment go a really long way. And we have proof of that because this last year we had very low flu. So it's not because that COVID was so strong. It was because people were washing their hands, and that was a helpful for a prevention. Now, an interesting article that came out 2 weeks ago was that if you have the rhinovirus, and the rhinovirus is that summer flu, that's that summer just cold, not necessarily a flu, but it's more of a summer cold. And the rhinovirus, if you have it, actually you can't get COVID. So that was a very interesting study that came out that I was like, wow, maybe it's not so
That
bad
might
to
be a
have a runny
trade-off,
nose. So the key is, though, if you have COVID, we've got to treat it differently. These viruses are all different. And we're going to live the rest of our lives with viruses, bacteria that is in the public. So, hey, guys, let's get used to it. Let's pivot and find great ways in working with your teams to feel good, be healthy, wealthy, and wise. And we're here to help you have your best life in a healthy way.
I may not make the wise part, but I'll go for wealthy.
Okay.
All right. And healthy, I'll go for that. All right. Any questions, folks? info@everydayhealthhacker.com. We'll be glad to take care of it, as always. On behalf of myself, Mike Herzing, and Dr. Lisa Liao.
And Eddie V, who's behind the
Eddie
cameras.
V,
Come
Mr.
by and
V.
see him.
Special Ed, our buddy right here. This guy is awesome. Either way, Teresa, everybody here, everybody's awesome. Any questions we have, always info@everydayhealthhacker. And
we will respond.
as always, have a great week, folks.
Have a blessed week, and we'll see you soon. Signing off.